to use labels or harsh adjectives. These are very difficult views, very sensitive views. Allah knows who's right and wrong. So much can be said. I want to summarize my thoughts in 5 points. As usual, I try to be structured and precise. First and foremost, the notion that the Khilafah is an obligation, it is something that I do agree with, technically. That it is fard kifaya. I say this and I believe this. That overall, Islam did also come to have some type of political dominance in some place in the world. I think this is self-evident. The fact that Allah wants us to do communal things, right? So some things are individual, salah, zakah, individual. Other things must be done by a community. And the fact that Allah is telling us to do it indicates He wants us to have some type of society. So I do believe that ideally, the establishment of a khilafah is a type of fard kifaya. But we also need to be clear about the level of obligation. How fard kifaya is it? Is it on the top of the list or is it somewhere lower on the list? And in my humble opinion, it's not on the top 10 or 20 things on the list. And that's why you don't hear me in my rhetoric, in my khutbahs, always bringing up something like a khilafah. I am not opposed to the idea. But in my humble opinion, when the average Muslim is struggling to be a good Muslim, when the average Muslim is struggling with iman, with salah, with ibadah, when the average Muslim is not even living an ethical life according to the Sharia, then what's the point of bringing up khilafah in a khutbah where maybe 50% of the people are not even praying 5 times a day? So when it comes to priority, in my humble opinion, speaking to the large groups of Muslims, we shouldn't always be bringing up the notion of khilafah. Bring it up so that they know of the idea. Bring it up so that they understand there is something. But in my humble opinion, it is not something that is as important as the ibadat and mu'amalat. And I have no qualm saying those that are qualified, they should talk and discuss and plan and envision and have group committees and think tanks and have papers that they produce and speak about it. But I also believe the average preacher and teacher should not constantly be talking about something that the average Muslim can do nothing about. What can you do and what can I do about establishing power? We're barely establishing power in our own households, in our own children. We're barely establishing a properly run masjid, and we're going to think about establishing an entire dawla or whatnot. So I think we should be practical and pragmatic, that generally speaking, yes, fard kifaya in a broad sense, but at the individual level, when I can't establish a khilafah, you cannot establish a khilafah, but I can establish the salah. I can be ethical, and I can preach